So this week's episode of Fairy Tail was absolutely amazing. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. Definitely had my doubts from the few past weeks, especially after seeing the episode where they just let all the dragons walk right on out without even attempting to do anything. Definitely was not in a great mindset for watching this episode, but thankfully it really stuck out and it was amazing. Basically what happens is the dragons are still fighting and all the dragon slayers are still fighting them individually. Natsu's fighting Future Rogue on top of the dragons still, and then Lucy and Yukino are trying to use their celestial spirits to destroy this gate, because if they can destroy this gate, then Future Rogue goes back, all the dragons go back, and Future Lucy goes back. Everybody goes right back to their respected timelines, and we don't have to deal with all this nonsense that's going on. But they're trying to attack, and literally with all of their power and every single one of their celestial spirits, they cannot even dent this thing. That just shows you how sturdy this giant gate is. And these are, mind you, very powerful beings. They're celestial spirits, and they are very strong, and they cannot altogether, all of that power, even dent it. We're going to see that Natsu is pretty much having a hard time dealing with Future Rogue. Future Rogue has 2 powers. He has a lot more experience, and he's developed other arts. And obviously he's going to be very strong, stronger than Natsu most likely. And he is just dominating Natsu. He's kicking them all about. Natsu really can't do anything. And then right there and then, Natsu gets a boost from Atlas and just goes nuts. The fire from Atlas, which is probably, I would have to say, probably the strongest fire. Not sure about Igneal, but that would seem to be maybe one of the strongest fires. And with that extra power, he easily one-shots Rogue. Now, this is kind of where I fall off a little bit. I really hate about in Fairy Tail, they do a lot of one-shots on characters. It kind of takes away from the whole fight thing, which I enjoy watching fights. But it was still pretty amazing to see how much power they had, especially because they go crashing down right into that giant gate and destroy it. So the power of the Dragon Slayer magic combined with Atlas Flame's fire was enough to destroy an entire gate that all 12 or 13 celestial spirits could not even dent. So it just shows you the power of the dragons right there and then. Leaves the statement that dragons are pretty much the superior class of all the species when it comes to fighting or magic or anything along those lines. So because the gate is obviously destroyed, every dragon and person that's not from that timeline goes back to where they come from. We get to see a glimpse of Mavis saying that was kind of pathetic. We have all of these dragon slayers and all of these top guilds, and none of them, even working together on a single dragon, could even deal with one dragon each, which is saying a lot because dragon slaying magic is made to slay dragons, and they could not even hurt these dragons. They show you how much in a different league that these dragons are. There's probably no hope for them right now when it comes to fighting Acnologia. So we're going to have to see in the future if they get stronger, because they are all incredibly strong people and they can't hurt dragons. So last but not least, Future Lucy and Rogue go back to their timelines. Lucy is no longer dead. She wakes up and all of her friends are surrounded by her, which is really nice to see because, you know, even though it's a future person and it doesn't really impact the present Lucy, it still kind of sucks to see one of pretty much the main characters die. You don't really want to see that. And then Future Rogue warns Natsu to tell Rogue in 1 year's time, which is kind of like a Dragon Ball Z thing where Trunks is like, you know, Goku, you got in 1 year from now you're going to get hit by the virus. So we'll see how that really works in. And then he says that Frosh dies. That's why he turns pretty much evil. Because he's talking about the shadows, which one of the shadows did obviously take him over in the fight against Gajiel, and he had no control over his body. That was all that shadow. And if it could easily take him over like that, then especially if Frosh dies, I can understand why he would turn into future Rogue. Future Rogue is warning Natsu to tell him that, you know, himself and the present self, that, you know, he needs to worry about that, because he's fought off the shadows until that point, but once Frosh goes, it's all downhill from there, and he just gives in. There's no reason for him to go on, essentially, because that was his best friend. I think that's about it for this week's episode. I think I have to give it a solid 8, just because it really put me in a better mood as opposed to what I've been feeling about the anime. And we'll see where this goes from here. So that does it for this video. If you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like or a comment, and remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. I would have actually had done a video version of recording myself do this today. I looked around though. Also, my camera's not a good camera, so the quality's very low. It's kind of laggy, and it just has to be put in a very weird position. And then also, just my room is not anything to look at, so we have a dirty wall behind me, and it's not like my manga's right behind me or anything, so I can't kind of like display anything for you guys, so it would just be kind of looking. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do in the future though, so definitely stick around and see what happens, and bye.